meeting today, and I know we had some technical difficulties, so that's why we're a little bit behind. But we're going to get started. I would like everybody to introduce themselves on the dais. I don't know what the feedback is here. Okay.
Christy Rischel, Assistant Clerk.
Leslie Hervey, Clerk to the Board.
Stephanie Summerall Dumas, Commissioner.
Jeff Aludo, County Administrator. Michael Freeman, Legal Counsel.
All right, we're going to start with the silent prayer. I don't know what this feedback is here. We'll start with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Vice President Driehaus, would you like to say hello?
Good afternoon, County Commissioner Denise Driehaus.
Awesome. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session.
Second.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse,
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Okay, we'll open it up for public comments. If there's anyone here that'd like to make a public comment? Are there any on Zoom? Okay, seeing none, we will then move to comments and motions from the commissioners. I will start off. I just want to, yesterday we had our state of the county, and just want to thank everyone who came. I want to thank the county administration and all those who helped make it possible. I also want to give a special thanks to my staff, Chief of Staff Quinn Monroe and Veda Stevens from my team, along with everyone that helped and supported. I want to thank all the volunteers from the county that participated. I want to thank the Commission on Women and Girls, who also served as hostesses, and Aisha and Trevina, who made sure the 513 relief bus was there. At the State of the County, I explained that our vision is to move as one Hamilton County. And one of the things we're going to do is do a better job now that we have put resources available to making sure that we promote ourselves and what's available in terms of what's available from the county to the residents. So we're going to better educate residents of what we do and how these resources are important to them and how to get access to those resources, as well as major things that we have. We've got a lot of major things coming up this year, major announcements that will be coming. I highlighted some of them. And if you haven't seen it, hopefully we'll have a version of it on our website where people can see it from beginning to end. I also want to thank Bridget Doherty, our communications director as well, and Leslie, our clerk of the commission, as well, for all of their help and assistance. I do want to give a special thanks to Sheriff McGuffey. We had the deputies there and the color guard that came, P.N. Everson Price, who did an outstanding rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, as well as Minister Bumani Taimba from Corinthian Baptist Church, who participated. Radio personality, Don Juan from Radio One, one of the top radio voices in our region. He's on in Cincinnati and Columbus, and he was the voice behind the curtain. So people may not known that was him, but he was the voice behind the curtain. I was also able to give out a President's Award that I thought was most deserving to the UC trauma team. They were at the State of the County, and we gave them the President's Award. As all of us are having our Who Dey gear on, compliments of sorta, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what happened here in our stadium, owned by the taxpayers, what happened to Damar Hamlin and him going down, flatlined, and the first responders who brought him back to life and delivered him to UC Medical Health Hospital. Was incredible that that team was able to make sure that he could walk out of that hospital alive. And the whole world was watching Hamilton County. The whole world was watching. And as the world was watching, the technology, the research, the expertise of UC Health Trauma Team was amazing. And the technology equipment we had, I'm told, is one of the reasons he was able to live, because he came to our hospital and we had that technology and expertise. So last night, I was very proud to present them the Hamilton County President's Award for all that they have done. It also puts an emphasis on our county. We have an indigent care levy, they call it, it's hospital levy. And those dollars through us goes to UC Medical Hospital. So whether you're Damar Hamlin and you were in a NFL football game, or you are a resident of Hamilton County and something happened, and you walk in there, they're giving you the same level of care, because this is the type of community, this is the type of county that we live in, one Hamilton County. And our county is one of the largest investors in healthcare through the hospital levy. So wanted to highlight that, and once again, highlight all the expertise that is right here in our county. I want to thank both my colleagues for being there and being supportive. We'll get this mic. I could be all the way in the hallway. You can hear me. And thank you for your support and the support of so many people that came out and was a part of this. So that's the state of the county. I encourage you to take a look at it. Number one priority is people first. And we have some exciting things that are happening. So we moved from the speech last night, from the speech to the streets. This morning, we wasted no time. We were, all three of us, having a ribbon cutting of the 513 relief bus. We piloted the bus in 2021 with a borrowed bus, and we know that it works. 4,000 people have been helped from this 513 relief bus, which its original name is the Hamilton County Equity and Resources Mobile Tech Bus. This is a state-of-the-art bus. We decided to have a make this permanent, and it allows us to have what I call Take It Hamilton County Mobile. And we'll be going all throughout Hamilton County, and there's a full schedule people can get on 513relief.org. And I want to thank my colleagues for being there this morning. Jeff Aludo, their administrator, and Holly, our assistant administrator, and Bridget putting together a press conference, and all of our partners that were there. We have so many partners that were there today, and to see this state-of-the-art technology bus that's going to help so many people throughout Hamilton County. And UC Health was on the bus taking blood pressure checks. And the mayor from Cincinnati was there, and he got his blood pressure check, and they said it wasn't too high. So after that, I said, well, don't take mine yet. I got a meeting to run, and I don't want mine going way up. But it's just amazing of things that we're going to be doing: blood pressure checks, cancer screenings, diabetes screenings, you name it. We got a dental chair with dental services, eye services. It's just amazing. And also our clerk of courts was there, Pavan Parikh. Pavan Parikh, I'm sorry. And he was there, and we're going to be partnering with the clerk of courts as well to provide some services. So this is just a great thing, and it's out there at Corinthian Baptist Church today, I think 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, but you can go to 513relief.org to find out where it will go next. So those are my comments about that. Lastly, I just want to say we've got a game to win. And thanks to SORTA, we have these. They gave us these today, SORTA. And they're giving them out because this whole county is about Who Day. And we are wishing our team the best of luck. Last year, I predicted we would go to the Super Bowl. this time I'm predicting we're going to win the Super Bowl. And so we wish our Bengals team the best. They've had to come up on the rough side of the mountain. The NFL has not treated us well. And the coin toss, from the coin toss to selling 50,000, what I call fraudulent tickets now, before we even had a game, and now trying to blame us for wearing the uniforms. They need to stop it. Our team has not asked for any handouts. The team led by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Higgins and Mixon, they have had to come up on the rough side. DJ Reader and so many others, and we earned our spot to be there. So wishing them the best of luck. I think last time Commissioner Dumas, she had a thing going with, was it Kansas City? And she had the Gates barbecue and all of that. I might need to do that because I am a little hungry for some Gates barbecue. It worked out good. They had to send Gates barbecue to us. But again, we wishing Houday and it's one Hamilton County, and we're backing our Bengals team on the field. So with that, I'll turn it over to Vice President.
Thank you. Did want to congratulate you on the state of the county. It was a very nice event and a nice way to remind people about what the county does. And that is the whole point of the state of the county. So I thought it went really well and was glad that you did that. I did want to recognize we've had some losses in the community. It was Chinese New Year recently, and we had some mass shootings, and I do want to note that the tragedy that occurred in other places and remind ourselves and the folks in our community from the Chinese American community that we are supporting them, we welcome them, and they are welcome in Hamilton County. But there were a couple other losses in our community. Dick Weiland was one, and John Seavey was the other. We all know Dick Weiland and what an advocate he was for those in this community. He took on difficult causes, did a lot of advocacy work to the state, to the county, to the city, and he will be sorely missed. I know he was in his early 90s. I think it was 93 or 94. Dick had a birthday party every year, and we just lost track of how old he was. But he was a real giant in this community, and he is going to be missed. And then John Seavey also passed away. He was a two-time Hamilton County Court of Domestic Relations judge, and then served as a judge, administrative judge, in a magistrate in the court. And so he's from the West Side. He comes from a big political family. Cheryl Seavey is a trustee out in Delhi Township, and his sister was also a judge. So I did want to recognize the passing of John Seavey. He served the public in Hamilton County well, and I did want to recognize that. I believe his visitation is tomorrow out on the West Side. In addition to that, just two other things. One is that UC College of Business has an ethics bowl every year where they invite high schools to come in and they give them difficult ethical questions and challenges to respond to. And so they form teams. It's kind of like a debate club kind of thing. And so they form teams and they compete against one another. And I had the opportunity to judge one of these on Saturday. Walnut Hills won. Congratulations to them. They were really very thoughtful, and these are high school students, and I tell you what, they are really keyed in to ethics and what is right, what is wrong, but all the things that you have to think about as you arrive at a decision about an ethical question. So congratulations to them. Ursula was also in the room. Xavier was in the room. Mount Healthy was in the room. So it was really fun to watch these young people talk about ethics. And thanks to UC for the invitation and for just doing the Ethics Bowl. And then lastly, I was out at the Summit Hotel out in Madisonville this morning. The Quick Response Team is having their national conference here in Cincinnati. As you'll remember, the Quick Response Team originated in Colerain Township. Dan Malloy was the one that started it there. It was a part of the Hamilton County Addiction Response Coalition. And so the QRT now has served as a model throughout the country. And so People had come here from all different states. There were hundreds of people in the room. They ran out of capacity, had to turn people away because there was so much interest in other jurisdictions understanding how the quick response team works in this community to save lives and get people into treatment. And so I did the opening remarks there. Anthony Munoz was there. We were talking a lot about the Bengals there as well. We did a big Hoo Day chant with a bunch of people that aren't from Cincinnati. So we were leading the cheer, though, so Hoo Day to the Bengals. But this quick response team conference was just a reminder of how we have been on the cutting edge of trying to save people from addiction, and this model now has spread nationwide. So a real shout out to Megan Gosney, to Dan Malloy, to Tom Fallon, all of whom helped organize that conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Just a few things. On Tuesday, I participated in the Hamilton County Land Bank meeting, which is very interesting. The port and other entities are very active in preserving land, procuring land, and making sure that they look at affordable housing, which is our focus as a board. And then yesterday, I had a webinar with CCAO for broadband and updates on what's going on with that and trying to meet the needs of all the community, all the county, and all the states, so everyone can have access to broadband. A little later on that day, I had a Teams meeting about the Brent Spence Bridge, and it's a $3.6 billion project, which they are saying may not be completed until 2029. But there are lots of chambers that were on there saying that they want to have input. They want to be a part of this process. A lot of diversity and inclusion was discussed during that meeting, and they want to get, the ones that were speaking want to get on the front end and not the back end, because this is such a major project. And so they were advocating not only the chambers, but also the individuals that were there that want to be, make sure that they're not forgotten. And in addition, of course, the State of the County address was excellent. It was well attended. It was packed. And I thought you did a great job, Madam President, and especially when you kept mentioning us. That was really good.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, so, but I thought it was great. I thought it was great. And of course, I went to the unveiling, as was mentioned earlier, of the 513 bus, and it was a vision, and now it's for real, and now it's working. It's going to continue to work, and I think it'll be a great, also, the satellite office will be a great addition to the 513 bus that we're looking at out in Forest Park, which people will not have an excuse. They can make an excuse about not getting services, but the services will be available. If you cannot get to them, we will come to you. And so we, as a board, have talked about accessibility, and we're walking in that path. So I want to thank you for the vision, and that we supported that, and we gave the money that was needed. It has everything that's needed in that bus. And so I'm just really happy about the outcome and how the result of it. I have lots more stuff. Let's see. Our Inspire initiative that I talked about a couple weeks ago, which is really for groups, small groups in the community that are trying to help our youth, be it a dance team, a football team, baseball team, mentoring group, and you have adults that are helping young people, that this Inspire initiative will allow us to undergird just a little bit of their costs, be it for uniforms or registration. There will be an application process which will start in February. The posting for that position ended on the 20th, and I'll be reviewing some of those applications to see who we want to hire part-time within our office, but it's for, of course, the whole board, so we can get that started and get those applications out there. Child support, I just wanted to bring up, Jeff, I had mentioned before, we found out through our ARPA money, we cannot directly help pay child support, but what we can do is to, once again, undergird those who are being consistent and dependable as it relates to their child support. They are paying, but it leaves them not being able to pay their gas and electric or their rent. And so we were looking at the possibility of how we could provide some initial funding for those that are up to date and due to the pandemic, fell short as relates to their income. So if we can get some information on that, that would be great. Dick Weiland was brought up earlier, and so I worked with him in the village of Lincoln Heights. He came out, and we know he's a big figure, and he advocated and has always advocated for the village of Lincoln Heights, and I ended up hiring him as a consultant, and his input, his ideas was, I can't even talk about. It wasn't even, the money we paid him was very minimal, but he gave so much, and he would come almost every other day to talk about what he could do to help us with grants and other things going on in Lincoln Heights. Okay, lastly, well, what do we have here? I asked my chief of staff to throw this to me. I was gonna make it real dramatic, but he said he'll hit somebody in the head with it and then have a lawsuit. But anyway, this is a game ball that we got January the 15th, 2022, when the Bengals played the Raiders. And it was 26-19, the Bengals won. Woo, 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 woo. So they won this ball and gave it to the county, and we're gonna put it in a conspicuous place, but where you can find it, where it'll be, in an area. So when people come in, they've come in and just individually asked to see it, and we've allowed them to do that. We want to put it we have a case, so anyone that comes in at any time can see this ball. But this was 2022. Now we're in 2023, and they're in the same position. Right after this game, they went to play Kansas City, as you mentioned, and we gave a little wager, which we won, and they gave us some ribs. You mentioned that. But I did not, and Madam President, you may want to do it like you said this year, but I did not try to do a wager with them. I don't know what their budget looks like, because I already know that they are going to lose. But anyway, I wanted everybody to see what we got before, because I said, well, why are all the bars getting? I understand why the bars are getting them, but they did give Hamilton County a ball. So who they? Yeah. Pass it. And then pass it. See, I knew you knew how to throw. Yeah, over my head.
Let me back up. Back up.
So that way.
I don't want to intercept the ball.
And she says, now that's my ball now, isn't it, the president? I said, it's our ball. I tell on anybody.
Since she passed the gavel, pass
Yeah, since I passed the gavel, I'm going to pass the ball. It'll be out here somewhere. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you very much. I do want to also say my condolences to the CB family. Maybe we can send something, I think, since being here in Hamilton County, maybe we can get something through Vice President Driehaus's office that we can send on behalf of Hamilton County to the family of condolence. Dick Weiland, Major Giant, we talked a lot about Dick Weiland. I remember him coming to Integrity Banquet Hall my parents owned, and he said, let's dance. And he went to dancing, and back then my mother could walk, and she wasn't in a wheelchair, and they went to dancing all over. I didn't know Dick Weiland could dance like that. I learned. But also, he was very instrumental. He was all about One Hamilton County. Up at the State House, as Vice President Driehaus mentioned, she said it very mildly, but he was the one making sure that Southwest Ohio, we weren't left behind. And anyone who's been up at the state, you understand that they're always about Columbus and Cleveland. And, we always have to fight to make sure that Hamilton County is not left out. And he would be in there from the lobbying side, making sure, and we would be there. Of course, we were in the minority, but we were screaming, and he brought back a lot of money because he was able to go in, even though we was in a minority, to pull dollars back to Hamilton County. He brought a lot of money back here to help with a lot of projects and to help with a lot of programs. But also, he was very instrumental in bringing the Black and the Jewish community together. He was real big about that, and bringing us together, and the faith leaders, bringing them together, And it was always that, he was that bridge of the unity that he was able to do. And so it's just amazing what he was able to do and so many people he was able to touch. And he had a office at his favorite restaurant, and there would be people lined up. I got another meeting, I got another meeting. And he would have a list of projects for Hamilton County and making sure that everybody was in tune on those things. So he invested a lot of time, he invested a lot of money. He loved Hamilton County. And the reason why we didn't know how old he was, because he just never stopped working. If he go in the hospital, he got his all this paper. He done set up a whole office, and the nurses are coming in as his assistants, not to get his blood pressure, but to help him with his meetings. So just wanted to highlight that. That was a major loss for us, a major giant in this community, a major bridge builder, and we will all miss Dick Weiland. And now turn it over to our administrator.
Thank you, Madam President. No by leave. I'll turn it over to you for the by leaves. Just a couple of quick comments. First of all, congratulate you, Madam President, on a very successful first state of the county. Wanted to also wish good luck to our partners, the Bengals, on Sunday. Not that they're going to need it, but want to wish them good luck as well. And finally, Commissioners, just bring to your attention one item on the agenda today, and that is item number 11. I'll hit it on it when we go through the consent agenda, but I just wanted to again highlight the success of our Planning and Development Office and their continued work to promote shared services as they do fire hydrant maintenance throughout the community. They now have 23 municipalities as well as the townships that they do fire hydrant maintenance for. They do this so well. The other communities just know that they're, in order to keep the community safe, they go with the county to make sure they're maintaining this critical public safety infrastructure. I bring this up primarily because we had these men and women here, I guess it was last week, right, doing a picture when we talked about them in the context of the snow response. So again, just another kudos for that group, and wanted to call them out for that. Commissioner Summer Dumas, we'll get you a report on the child support. As the board is aware, we have JFS taking the lead at drawing connections, working with the Office of Reentry to make sure that where we have non-custodial parents who have issues with not only child support, but pointing them to resources on rent, utility, et cetera, so that the more they're, as Commissioner Summer Dumas said, undergirded financially, it helps them make those payments to the custodial parents so that we can make sure that we keep kids supported and safe in the community. So we'll follow up with more information on it, but just wanted to make sure you knew that we were working on that. Thanks. And Madam President, I will turn it over to you. The by leave items today are all board appointments, so I'll turn those over to you.
Thank you. Before we get to the board appointment, I also want to thank Director Michael Patton, who is also out there right now, I think, with the 513 relief bus. He was with us also this morning, and so he is on the job out there. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledge him. We have 3 by leaves, and by leave number 2, I was instructed we have to take first. And so by leave number 2 is a resolution rescinding appointment of a member to the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority. That particular position will be a township trustee position, and so we wanted to make sure that that position stays that way. Any questions on by leave number 2?
No questions.
Okay, I move that we approve by leave number 2.
Second?
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse, Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll move to by leave number 1, which is a resolution appointing a member to the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority Board, Tom Weidman.
Second.
Any questions?
No questions.
Second.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse,
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
By leave item number 3 is a resolution to appoint a member to the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority, Bernadette Watson. I recommend approval. Any questions?
I'll second.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse, Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's not, it's not your.
Okay. All right, we will go to the regular agenda. Item number 1 is a MSD item. Welcome.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Lauren DeGarcia on behalf of MSD. I also have Jack Rennekamp and Matt Spaderi with me today to help with any questions. Excuse me, I think I'm getting some feedback as well. We just have one item on the board's agenda today, and that is the East Loveland Avenue Sewer Replacement Project. The current request is to approve and fund the construction in the amount of $686,200 for this asset management project to be constructed in coordination with the City of Loveland, and also to approve and authorize a related agreement. Loveland is planning to make various street enhancement improvements to certain portions of East Loveland Avenue, and there is an opportunity for MSD to include the sanitary sewer improvements in that project. The existing 8-inch local sewer in East Loveland Avenue is aging and currently exhibits condition and capacity deficiencies. This proposed construction would include replacement of approximately 1,300 feet of existing 8-inch sanitary sewer with new 12-inch sewer to remedy these deficiencies. The project will be designed and constructed through Loveland's project, subject to ongoing consultation with and approval of MSD. MSD will provide design and construction funding for the applicable portion of the project, not including project management and street restoration, which will be performed and funded by Loveland. This arrangement is formalized in a proposed supplemental agreement, which is an exhibit to the legislation. And this is a supplement to the board and Loveland's existing agreement that governs the operation of the sanitary sewer system that serves the city of Loveland. So adoption of this legislation would also provide for the board's approval and authorization of the execution of that agreement. This project is included in the approved 2023 CIP for the amount requested. With that, we recommend approval and can take any questions.
I will open it up to my colleagues. Vice President Dreehouse, any questions?
Questions?
Commissioner Dumas?
No questions.
I recommend the passage of item number 1. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes,
Commissioner Dreehouse, Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Thank you.
thank you. Now we go to the consent agenda. I'll ask Administrator Ludo to walk us through these items and highlight those that have financial impact as well.
Thank you, Madam President. Walking through the consent agenda briefly, you have items number 2 and 3, which are 2 ARPA grants. These are the health infrastructure grants from our ARPA fund. The first to Greater Cincinnati Behavioral Health for some ventilation improvements. The second to University of Cincinnati Medical Center for an increase to the number of negative air pressure rooms within the facility. Those are $24,600 and $1.5 million grants, respectively. Item number 4 is a $290,000 change order related to our agreement with Trivium on Lot 28. This still keeps the project within budget, but nonetheless requires a board approval. Item number 5 is the establishment of various purchase orders at the beginning of the year for the county. Of note, the largest of these include a payment to the Ohio Treasurer for the Children with Medical Handicaps program run by the state. There's mail center costs. There's public health inspections of solid waste facilities. There's also some movement between funds in probation and the clerk of courts related to municipal traffic fines. We have item number 6, which is a resolution providing various offices, primarily the assistant county administrators, with authority to make signatures on my behalf in my absence. We have 3 items for Job and Family Services. The first 2 of which are group homes. One is a group home contract with Isaiah's Place for group home services. We have 5 kids at that particular location. We have an agreement with Step Higher, Nella's Place, 2 children in that location. And we have an agreement with NECO for independent living services, where we have two individuals with NECO. Item number 10, we have a resolution authorizing the use of credit cards in the Planning and Development Department. Item 11 is the fire hydrant repair services contract with Elmwood Place, which I had previously mentioned. We have James Noyes here, I believe, in the audience if there are specific questions about that item. We have a resolution. These next two are community development block grant agreements. A resolution authorizing an agreement with the West College Hill Neighborhood Services Center for the upgrade and repair of that services center. A $50,000 agreement with Alloy Development Company for with community development for the economic development services that Alloy provides to the first ring suburban communities. And we have an agreement, a $289,000 agreement with Strategies to End Homelessness as we pass through our emergency solutions grant to Strategies to serve as our and the city's lead entity on our Continuum of Care collaborative. And finally, we have a travel request requesting the authorization for 5 employees from the county engineer to travel to Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you. I do want to highlight item number 11 and 12. One of the things I talked about last night was One Hamilton County, and I just wanted to point out item number 11 gives us an opportunity to work collaboratively with the village of Elmwood Place. And I think that's with our Planning and Development Department, with our fire hydrant repair services. So I think I wanted to highlight that. And item number 12 is another opportunity of partnership as we're entering to an agreement with West College Hill Neighborhood Services. So I'm going to continue to highlight these things when we're having these type of partnerships. And of course, people have asked, what are you doing for homeless people? And we do work in tangent with the Strategies to End Homelessness. And again, here's some additional funding. So just wanted to highlight those numbers, 11, 12, and 14. Vice President Driehaus?
No questions.
Any questions, Commissioner?
Just a couple comments. Item number 6, Jeff, I was wondering, as we vote on the assistant county administrators, is that just to make it official? I thought that was already going on, that they were working in your behalf, or is it because they're signing certain
It's to give
things?
them the specific legal authority to sign on my behalf in my absence.
Okay, and that has not, this is the first time that we've done, it's not-
I believe there may be the authority for one of the assistants, but as we've done some reorganization, we wanted to make sure that it was up
Sure.
to include each of the assistant administrators.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And item number 7, which was the Job and Family Services for Group Home Services, is extremely low, 47,000. So I was just wondering, for 5 children, is that additional money that we're given? I know that's not for the total amount for this Isaiah's Place.
It is an amendment, Commissioner.
That's what I thought.
So that my intuition would be the same as yours, and I think we have Laura Wolf on who can answer the question specifically.
Amendment number 1.
Is Ms. Laura Wolf on the
Laura Wolf is the contract specialist with Job and Family Services. So we do have a way to pipe her in there through she's typically on through the Zoom.
is she on Zoom?
Well, of course, I'm in favor of group home services.
I can provide you more clarity
Sure,
on the item after the meeting, Commissioner.
And what the total is. And I've often asked if I could, and the board may be interested too, in what is the location of this provider?
Yeah, that particular provider is in Troy, Ohio.
Okay.
I believe the other two specifically, Step Higher, Nella's Place, and NECO, those particular facilities are in Cincinnati.
Well, if I could see a graph, or they used to do it and put it on there with the location, because we want to make sure we're keeping the children as close to home as we can. And also, what would be helpful for me is whether or not it's a new provider, so we can make sure that we're assessing that. Just in general, as we look at agreements, like Madam President brought up about number 11 with Elmwood Place, I believe we've been doing that, but if it would be helpful for me to know, is this a new agreement with them, or is this just a additional one for 2023? So not just that one, but I'd like to know if the agreements are new, old, continuing. That would be helpful.
This would be new with Elmwood Place, so a brand new one, which brings our total for municipalities up to 23 now. But it's a good point, Commissioner. This is one that we've continued to expand over the years, as you've mentioned. So we can get you a report on all the different municipalities and townships that we're working for in that particular service.
Great, thank you so much. And lastly, Madam President, I did promise Daryl Haley, who is the CEO of Metro, he said to make sure that we show our logos so people, if they tuned in late, and I'm gonna tell him he should, unless it's a headband or something like that, or if he put it up here, there's no way we can show it. So I just wanna make sure he sees it, that we showed it. So, okay, that's all I have.
Okay, awesome. I want to make a motion to approve items 2 through 15.
Second?
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse, Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Thank you. I have one thing I forgot to say. I did get a chance to swear in the Evanston Community Council and the president, Mr. Stallworth. So I did want to highlight that. And I also attended the 75th birthday for Mrs. Donna Jenkins, because if I don't say that, they'll say, you forgot to say it. It was incredible, and to live to be 75 is definitely a major blessing these days. And then lastly, I had a chance to meet with Visit Cincinnati, but also to have the director of the Department of Ohio Tourism, Matt McLaren, come down. He's a friend, but he said he was so impressed by what we were doing here, and that he thought that there was nothing else in Ohio that's going to be opening in 2023 like the Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame. So the state will be helping to also promote the grand opening. So wanted to highlight that. Any other comments, questions? No. I make a motion for us to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse, Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.